Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I said another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, another one. Bye. Bye. Orale, you can tell by that thumbnail right there. Bulldogs are not the same. Okay? We've done a lot of bulldog videos on this channel. Showed them a lot of love and a lot of respect. But the perro chatos are not the same. Okay? They're not the same by choice, gente. And menudo está in a direct fashion. Just because the wind's blowing, guard! I'm going to go ahead and explain this one time for their mentalities, right? Knowledge you definitely can't get in college. Let me give you some game. Sit down. Okay, now trip out on this. People have always, and they always will, associate the Bulldogs with the Norteños. They are not the same. Bulldogs have a different type of gangbanging mentality. Okay? They don't pay no never mind to what anyone else has got going on. They don't adhere to the words of anybody. They're doing their renegade thing. They answer to no man. Okay? I've gotten at a lot of Bulldogs and I have a lot of good Bulldog homeboys. Right? A lot of good homeboys, man. Friends. I consider friends, not homeboys. Okay? Homeboys are people from your barrio, people that you stood tough with in the trenches, people that you're down to go out there and do some jale with or some dirt with, right? That's not me. That's not what I do. Pensa la tira, guard, that is not what I do. That's it, right? What I do is give you the real. And the real is the Bulldogs are not the same. Okay? When you're involved in gangs, whether it be Crip, Blood, North, South, East, West, Latin King, whatever it is, tangos, you're going to mind somebody. You're going to listen to the dictation thrown out to you. You're going to recognize that wheela and run with it. And it's not because you're a sucker. It's not because you're a poop butt. It's not because you're a follower. It's because that's just the way it pinchy is. That's just the way the game goes, man. You know, there's always going to be that leader. That one that can lead you, that makes the right decisions, that makes the proper decisions for your people. See, but Bulldogs are not the same. Okay, in the Bulldog gang, they don't have one leader. They all have a voice. Okay, and their voices are felt. Whether it's their bark or their bite, it's going to be felt. You know, a lot of people, and I get tired of people that ridicule the Bulldogs, and I get tired of people that try to play them out or act like they're not about it. Hey, homie, it's 40 years later. They're still here. They're still here. And no one has been able to eradicate them or get rid of them. It doesn't mean I think any less of the gangs that are their enemies that have been trying. They've been trying, right? But it just doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen because of that mentality and that mind state that these guys got. That anybody can get it, that it is what it is when it is what it is attitude. Okay? Now, recently it's been brought to my attention that some individuals are saying, hey, the Fresno Bulldogs don't like you, gun. I beg to differ. I've always kept it respectful with every group. You know, I might have had some back and forth or some type of not seeing eye to eye with certain individuals from certain areas. But at the end of the day, I respect even them. The word disrespect and the word respect means a lot to me. Okay? Respecting your fellow man. Treating others how you want to be treated. I want to be treated righteously, right? So I'm going to treat others righteously. Now, I've never hid the fact that I'm no longer an active Norteño. It's just not happening. Okay, never will happen. It ain't happening. I once was in the mix heavily. I once was about that life. I'm no longer about that life. My life has changed. Has it changed for the better or the worse? I don't know. Ask my children. Okay? They're happy to have a father that's a doting father that could do his best that he can for them. My life has changed in the fact that I don't have to look over my shoulders worried about if the placas are looking for me for warrants. My life has changed on, I like to eat carne asada and buzz down, tortillana, buzz down. I like tortillanas. So I'm winning. Guard! What? Am I winning? I don't know, stupid. Okay, well, I think I'm winning. He don't, I do. Okay? One thing I do know that's for sure is I've always had a mutual respect or a good relationship when it concerns the Fresno Bulldogs or any Bulldogs. Because they're not just in Fresno. There's the county dogs, the just right outside of the county dogs, the hey, we're way over here dogs, right? There's bulldogs, period. And I've always had a good relationship with them because of their mentality, because they're not structured. They have no politics when it comes to certain things. Now, I understand if I was a dropout bulldog, they'd be tripping on me. Righteously so. When you turn your back on a camarada, or they feel that you've left the gang, or you've turned their back on what they believe in, of course, Vatos are going to be highly upset. To what degree of upset? I can't call it to what degree. I mean, but the highest degree, I'm sure, right? But it seems like lately people are throwing out there, hey, Gunner, they don't like you in Fresno. Well, I beg to differ. I said there might be some individuals with clouded minds that don't know what time it is. But do you understand that my politics, what I was into, doesn't affect you? Okay, Fresno Bulldogs are not the same. They are an unstructured group and they've been that way for 40 years. Okay, doesn't mean that they're all over the place and they don't know what they're doing, because they definitely know what they're doing. You know, they definitely know how to get it together and handle their business. They're just independent entities, independent voters, independent cliques that come together for power when they're locked up. But on the streets, man, a bulldog is a bulldog, and that's the way he rolls. Now, I've always known the get down. I don't put the total get down out there because it's not for everyone. That's it. But I'm definitely not going to water it down and hold my tongue or bite my teeth when I say what I say. One thing I will say is it's always with respect, facts. So, you know, I got at a couple of my bulldog partners last night, man, and even the day before. And I said, you know, what is it, bro? What is it? Are Vatos tripping on me and those around me because I'm no longer affiliated with the Norteño cause? Or does it have to do with some secret squirrel gang shit that I don't know about? Because let me know. Give me the heads up at least. The heads up, 7-up. That way I don't, you know, overstep my boundaries and find myself lacking or in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, I understand in a city such as Fresno, grimy, gritty, rugged, vicious, violent, you're definitely could get got. Just as a man. If I'm wearing this hat and they don't like me, to what degree of Golden State Warrior are you? You know what I mean? It could get ugly, quick and fast. But then again, I'm not going to change my attitude or what I wear or how I look or how I rock for any man. You know, it is what it is. I figure as long as I do it with the utmost respect, as long as I just be myself, I said, then what it entails, right? I mean, what more can you do? You know, you could be a sucker. No, I'm going to be because what that, you don't understand. I mean, I go to state, eh? Now, forget all that. Guard! I ain't going to do none of that. But to get over here. All right. I'm going to, you know, I mean, I don't want to be locked up. One thing I will say is this, you know, why would a bulldog trip off me when my politics are not his politics? See, according to a Fresno bulldog, they don't affiliate or associate with northern or the southern causes because that's by design and by choice. That's what they've done. See, a lot of people that don't know their history and don't understand where they come from or their foundation or their older homeboys or the original F-14er gang, and people that don't understand this, man, they always got a lot of questions. And I've answered several of them in several videos when it comes to the Perro Chatos, the Fresnal Bulldogs, all the way back from the 209 to the new 559. I've definitely answered a lot of questions, but what we've never spoken on is why. Why exactly are these Vatos the way they are? Okay? Why not is the better question, let's see. Why not be independent? Why not be about their business? It's working out for them, obviously. It seems like their biggest enemy is either their self, going at it within their, you know, their own people, or the canine. Okay? And I'm not talking about the perro shops. I'm talking about the placas. Those seem to be their biggest conflicts. Now, of course, they have a lot of enemies on their plate. Norteños, Southsiders, Asians, Africanos. These Vatos have decided that if for no other reason, it's them against the world. That's it. And a lot of people don't like them. You know, I've had homeboys that have spoken derogatory around me about the Perro Chatos. I've seen chicks that, you're a bulldog. You know what I mean? They talk about people without really knowing the get down or the historia. You know, that's why I give them the respect that I do. That's why when I talk about them, I do that. I don't disrespect. And it's because I don't judge a group, a group based on what one man does. I judge that group on a respect factor. Right off the top, you got that coming. Now, when I was younger, I hated bulldogs. Get over here if I could get them, right? I hated them because that's what was indoctrinated in my mind, is to hate them. I felt like the Vatos turned their backs on me. I felt like, man, they left me high and dry on me up in the sky. I felt like Huelga was more than anything in my life, and it's what meant the most to me. So any enemy that the Huelga, when I say the Huelga, I mean the Norte took on, I was more than willing to be on the front lines to handle that business. So when the Bulldogs separated themselves in 1993 and decided, hey, or 92, 93 and decided, hey, say, we're out of here, I said, get over here. Not without a cascaron, not without a few vuelas to your melon, right, to your mascara. I definitely wanted to be able to reach out and touch someone. That's what I was, involved in. But it didn't mean I didn't respect my adversary. Because like I've said in several of my videos, all the way from my very first channel, if I don't respect you, if I don't like you, then I don't. I ain't got nothing for you, man. I don't care. I pay no never mind. Every once in a while, I'll cap on you a little bit, clown. But that's about it. You don't pose no threat. I'm not tripping. But if I respect you, man, so I'll be looking over my shoulder. You know what I mean? I'll be worried about it a little bit. I got a few little things, butterflies in my stomach, right? And that's just being a real man. That's just being real. I'd sit here and I'd be a whole bunch of fakery, shakery, and bakery and a whole liar and a fat mouth if I sat here and said I wasn't concerned with situations, right? No, I am, just like any other person should be. Especially when it comes to a gang-related gang topic, But with the Fresno Bulldogs, I'm hearing, hey, gun, they're tripping on you because you're a northern dropout. First of all, I ain't never dropped out of nothing in my life, I can get into the definition of all that, but this is neither the time nor the place, gente. What this is a spill on the dogs, the perro chatos, and basically a direct message to them saying, from what I know and from what I've always thought and from what I've always been told, by good, righteous perro chatos, active bulldogs, was that the southern and the northern politics don't dictate their program. It has nothing to do with them. Hey, if you're a vato from up north and you're no longer affiliated, shit, more power to you, right? That's better for them. That's one less vato they have to stress on. If they're stressing, quick out to blow out your whole backside with the Smith & Wesson, allegedly. Vatos are just not really tripping. See, when these vatos separated themselves, they let everything go concerning the North. Now, there are some instances where vatos still have that flame in their heart. Some of the old school F-14ers, they're hardly around. You hardly see them anymore. Some of them OGs, still would tell stories about rocking with Norteños because that's what they lived. They're only telling the truth. But these youngsters, the younger generations, they know they were not Norteños. They had no affiliation. They grew up as being the enemy. So they have a lot of derogatory things to say, and it goes back and forth on both sides. A lot of vatos that don't know the history and weren't there, didn't rock side by side. See, I didn't consider the Bulldogs in the North. We were all homeboys. We were the same exact thing. They were just from a gang called Bulldogs, but they were Norteños. So when we broke bread in the cell and ate a sopita, we had the same agenda, which was survival. I said, go out there and get it with which was our enemies at that time, which were the Southsiders. Well, seasons changed and times have changed, and now it's different. And words will never hurt me, right? Things have changed. Guard, they ain't changed for me. Well, you're different. Things have changed to me. So when I'm hearing, hey, man, vatos are tripping on you. Now, I understand the YouTube thing. I understand when you're in the gang life, you're not supposed to be on YouTube. I see a lot of new podcasts springing up with vatos talking about gang and this different stuff. And I'm scratching my head because I'm like, damn, everybody's mad at me for being on YouTube. They said, you're giving up the game. I'm not giving up the game. I'm giving you the game, right? I know what to say and what not to say. Believe me, I dot my I's and cross my T's. I truly keep it respectful and try to keep a lot off the tira if I can. But I give you my stories, what they entail. My profiles and what they entail. So, when I'm hearing, hey, Bulldogs are tripping because you're on YouTube, eh? You know what I mean? No. Hold on now. Wait a minute. Let me put some gangsterism in it. One time for your mentality. There would be no reason why they would be tripping on me for being on YouTube because I was not a part of them. And I've never did anything to disrupt what they got going on. You know, if a Vato's getting down, man, and the Bulldogs, you know, somehow they got something going on, I try to steer away from that. You know, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I try to keep it real. And that's just a fact. Do they press up on me? I've had situations where Vatos pressed up on me, man. And then Vatos were like, hey, man, it ain't like that. So, Vato wasn't no bulldog. He ain't no bulldog drop. I ain't none of that. No, I ain't never did none of that, man. But I've rocked with a lot of your older homeboys. When youngsters come up to me, hey, homie, where you from, man? Where's your father from? My father, what? Yeah, tell him I said Cuba. I was with them over there in Fresno. Oh, shit. I didn't know you was with them in Fresno. Spell it. The wind's blowing. So for a lot of people that automatically assume, you know, they try to make it an active, non-active world. It's not all about that, is it? It's about where you're from and where you're at, right? When it comes to the Bulls, I'm going to continue, the Bulldogs, I'm going to continue to respect them. I'm going to continue to shed light on real ones, real stories. And you know, I wiggle out there in Fresno. I'm out there, homie. You know, Fresno, man. Sanger, orale chancleros. You know what I mean? Pleasant Street. That's a shout out to the north side, Calwa. You know what I mean? Out there, not disrespecting anyone or stepping on anyone's territory and bringing them grief on me, but out there showing love and spreading the gospel, Billy Graham style. When I say the gospel, I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm talking about with a big old pipote and a tortillana trying to get loose. That's what I'm talking about, right? I'm out there doing my thing. But one thing I will say is for sure, I do it respectfully. Now, in the past, just like I said, man, I did consider them an enemy, and there was animosity. Not even animosity. What's that? Alamosity. Word of the day. There was some animosity there, right? We definitely got into it. We had our battles on them battlefields. You know, with battle comes respect. Any two groups that have went at it over years, they form maybe not a friendship or a bond, but they both were there doing it. You know, no one could say that they don't respect each other in some ways. You know, for the individuals that are constantly disrespecting people, hey, man, fuck, them guys can't go nowhere. They're on an island. They're this, they're that. You ain't never been nowhere, and they never ran into a real perro chato. You might bite your ankle bone off. You know, you might not have an Achilles tendon when you're done. Orale. And that's just the way that is. So I wanted to put a direct message out there to the Fresno Bulldogs. There's nothing but love and respect. Again, they are not the same. They don't follow politics, man. They're not doing northern politics or southern politics or eastern and western and politics. Guard. Nope, they don't do that. They do their own thing. They're independent thinkers, and that's the way they were able to thrive. Now, whatever worked out for them, worked out for them. I'm not saying it's beneficial for every different group. I'm not here to say that because I have no horse in the race. But one thing I do have is, besides the big old pipots, is a mentality, and a mentality that knows that I once rocked simultaneously and side by side with these individuals. So I know their mental thoughts. I know the way they think. Maybe not necessarily this new age, but the old generation. And the old generation were vatos that were respectful about their business and knew what time it was. The get down was real. I would never forget it. And I will constantly respect it. And that's just what it is. Now, if you're affected by the way I'm directing this message, depends on Latina, man. I can't do nothing for you, man. But one thing I can do for you is send mines. And that's real, you know. I've been hearing things about, hey, man, you know, Bulldogs cannot be on camera. And I understand that. Certain gangs, certain groups don't want their affiliates or their homeboys on camera. And if that's the case, so I was going to stay up off the camera, homie. You know what I mean? I can't say nothing more than that. But if that's not the case, man, you know, then all these weirdos that are throwing stories out there that don't really know what they're talking about, man, what can I say? Guard. You'll see them one day for their mind. And that's just it. Anyways, with that being said, shout out to the Fresno Bulldogs. And for those of you that don't know, man, they are not the same. They rock differently. They don't go up under the same rules that we went up under, you know, as Northerners or Southerners. It's totally different, man. They've been different. They want everyone to know they're different. You know, and if you don't recognize that, if game doesn't recognize game, realism doesn't recognize realism, I don't know what to tell you. I guess you'll never know, and you'll have to find out when they're biting a big old chunk at your motherfucking culo. And it just be like that one time. With that being said, anyways, you know what I mean? I'm going to give it up for the real ones. Bang, bang, shout out and respects to that east side. You already know what to do. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. I hope that you got everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's your family. That's first and foremost. Respect, family, pride, brown, bang, bang, sprinkle the woods in, brother. Can never forget about the wood. You can't do nothing for us, man. You can't not. You know what? At least I didn't talk like that dude, OG Silverback. Hey, look, we didn't do that. Bang, bang, the gun. You know what it is. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I truly and honestly believe in, and that's the coming together of all people. Shout out to the Fresno Bulldogs. Bang, bang.